Hello everyone. Tonight we're going to read a book called Come to the Castle, and it's actually a book of poems more than a story, and it was written by Linda Ashman and illuminated or illustrated by S.D. Schindler. Come to the Castle, a visit to a castle in 13th-century England. Now, hopefully this book will help you relax or even fall asleep. The Earl of Daftwood. Welcome to my castle. How exquisite, lavish, grand. So much land in my dominion, so much staff at my command. My assistants fetch my water, draw the curtains, help me dress, run my errands, write my letters, serve me dinner, clean my mess. I've got millers, bakers, butlers, pandlers, porters, and a priest, carters, jesters, knights, and marshals, some 100 souls at least. All committed to my comfort, all convinced that I'm divine. Yes, they worship and adore me, or they sleep among the swine. Don't need to sweat or toil, it's the privilege of a lord. If I ask, the task is finished. But I must confess, I'm bored. The remedy for tedium? Some merriment, of course. Steward, plan a tournament. Herald, find your horse. The Steward. Steward plan a tournament? The Earl is surely daft. Though he has countless servants, I am vastly understaffed, overworked, and truly weary of his constant recreation. Oh, how I'd love a nice massage and several weeks' vacation. I've notes to write, accounts to keep, and lands to oversee. Far too many things to do without this revelry. Besides, I risk my life each time I share the Earl's decree. More floors to sweep? The cleaning girl attacks me with her broom. More meals to make? The cranky cook heaves pots across the room. More towels to wash? More bread to bake? More fools to entertain? The staff is in an uproar, and I am in great pain. I suffer through this agony in quiet desperation. The riches I am paid are but a tiny consolation. The Herald. Oh, the hardships I endure upon these mucky, winding roads, slowed by farmers herding cattle, tired merchants with their loads, troops of acrobats and minstrels, barking dogs and dancing bears, wealthy barons with their servants, scores of peasants off to fairs. Robbers hover in the forest, wild animals attack, steady rain turns roads to rivers, constant riding hurts my back. When the night falls, all the finest sleep in downy castle beds, while the lesser knights and nobles find an inn to rest their heads. As for me, I'm in a stable, bumping elbows, knocking knees, stuck with 10 pathetic travelers, 20 rats, and countless fleas. There's no point in my complaining. If the Lord decrees, I go, no matter if there's scorching heat or several feet of snow. He doesn't care a wilt about my constant tribulation, but risks my life and limb to send another invitation. A feast at Daftwood Castle. Lords and ladies, come and dine. We'll keep you fed and entertained and plied with ale and wine. We promise jousts and dancing and perhaps a messy brawl. A guarantee of revelry, come join us one and all. The lady. Cook, begin preparing for an epic celebration, one that clearly demonstrates the Earl's sophistication. Peacocks, pike, and pigeons, capon, venison, and boar. Mutton, eel, and mackerel, sturgeon, porpoise, pig, and more. Perhaps a dozen courses. In between, we'll need some sweets. Fruits and tarts and custards. Yes, a vast array of treats. And then the crowning glory, a subtlety, of course, an edible cathedral, or a knight astride his horse. We'll stagger and astound them. We'll dazzle and amaze. Cook, don't look so worried. You still have 2 full days. The cook. I have no fresh capon, no porpoise or eel, no sumptuous roast for a memorable meal. Still, I must follow the lady's command. A feast in 2 days? I'll use what's on hand. Gizzards and livers and kidneys and feet. Grind it up well into mystery meat. Bind it with egg, mix it with spice. Throw in some currants and mustard and rice. Drop it in stews, bake it in pies, roll it in balls, or some other disguise. Toss on some flowers, gild it with gold. Present it with antlers or feathers. Be bold. A fine work of art to fill them with awe. So what if it's cold or the meat is still raw? The cleaning servant. Prepare the great hall, the banquets tonight. Arrange the old trestles, drape them in white. The goblets must sparkle, the silver must shine. Oh no, dear, don't wash them. Some spit will do fine. Leave the old dog waste and bones on the floor. Forget all those meat scraps. We'll soon have some more. Pile on rushes to cover the grime. Hide the foul odors with heather and thyme. Scatter the rats. Now it's perfectly clean. Or at least good enough. We're not serving the queen. The gong farmer. Oh yes, feel free to pinch your nose. 'Tis true, I don't smell like a rose. No human seeks my company, though flies can't get enough of me. But as you pass in greatest haste, do not forget it is your waste, descending through these putrid chutes, that fouls my coat and mucks my boots. No, I'm not aristocratic. Frankly, I'm too aromatic. Still, it takes great fearlessness to toil in this vile mess, performing work that all askew, that even knights can't bear to do. My nose more valiant than the sword. I am the noble privy lord. The knight. Long leather stockings, then mail over that, a doublet, an anketon, a thick padded hat, a hauberk so hot I am certain to melt, plates and a surcoat, gauntlets and belt, a coif made of metal, a helm with a crest. Surely this suit was intended in jest. With holes for my mouth and slits for my eyes, I'd gladly go naked and forfeit the prize. I see little, hear nothing, itch and perspire. I pray I don't rust before I retire. The squire. Oh, the glory of being a knight, defender of virtue, protector of right, chivalrous, daring, prepared for a fight. I'll be such a glorious knight. The knight. Oh, the joy of jousting in June, hearing my name in a troubadour's tune, racing my steed while the fine ladies swoon. How they worship the noble knight. The joust. And there's two knights jousting on horses, with a crowd watching them, clapping and cheering them on. The spectator. Oh, the drudge of watching these brutes charge at each other in ludicrous suits. I'd rather be pelted with moldering fruits than cheer for the boorish knight. The healer. Oh, the burden of healing this fool, the strength of a boar, the brains of a mule. Instead of a joust, have a thumb wrestling duel, and spare me from nursing this knight. The suitor. My conduct is impeccable, my manners very fine. I do not scratch my fleas or pet the canines when I dine. I swallow all my food before I take another bite. I belch, but not too loudly, for it would not be polite. I do not ask my host what sort of meat is in the pie. I drink my soup without removing rodent hair or fly. I would not use the tablecloth to clean my runny nose. Oh no, I use my hand, of course, then wipe it on my clothes. I take great care to aim below the table when I spit. I entertain the ladies with my eloquence and wit. In summary, as all can see, I'm gracious, charming, wise, valiant, poised, and modest, as a husband, quite a prize. The Earl's Daughter. Yet another dreadful suitor at another dreary feast. Evidently, I am destined to be married to a beast. One is old, another ugly, and a third inclined to drool. One's a drunkard, one's a braggart, every one of them a fool. They slurp and gulp and slobber, they jabber without cease. Spare me from this torture, let me eat a meal in peace. Their boasts of jousts and battlefields are utterly inane. It's clear they use their swords because they have so little brain. I, 14, should not be forced to marry some buffoon. If I were queen, I'd banish all these dimwits to the moon. The jester. The trumpets sound, the guests sit down. The grand procession starts. Servants carry platters piled with meat and pies and tarts. The minstrels sing, the jugglers dance, and I, of course, amuse. Exciting? Yes, but very tame compared to what ensues. Lord Fleming bumps a squire's hand. The squire's knife takes flight. It skims the Earl of Croton's ear and pokes a drunken knight. An accident, but nonetheless, it sparks a nasty brawl. The knights turn over tables, knock the candles off the wall. The subsequent inferno lights Lord Remington's new coat. He strips himself completely, then dives, shrieking, in the moat. The Duchess cries, "Invasion!" She's dotty as a loon, then climbs atop a table, waving torch and serving spoon. Combine a feast with fire, add some knights and too much ale. It's a recipe for bedlam on a monumental scale. And very entertaining, to this audience at least. They cheer and dance for hours, then continue with their feast. The following day, the doctor. I gaze at their waters like fine works of art, refer to my books and astrology chart. I pose rather thoughtfully, mumble and pace, adopt a concerned and yet scholarly face. I scan them for lesions, poke them for tumors, prescribe a few herbs to balance the humors. If in 3 days they're still gripped with pain, I visit again to open a vein. The source of their illness? A monkey could guess. They stuff themselves silly and drink to excess. But it is my duty to see them to health, and frankly, it adds to my burgeoning wealth. The Earl. The servants look exhausted, the guests unkempt and pale. The larders are all empty, there's not a drop of ale. The grounds are a disaster, the castle is a mess. There's every indication that our fate was a success. How do we top this triumph? Some merriment, of course. Steward, plan a tournament. Herald, find your horse. Now we're going to read about what the job was of certain characters back in these days, in these medieval times. I think it's 1300s England. Okay, so this is the cast of characters. A wealthy lord, like the Earl of Daftwood, might live in a huge castle or castles with vast amounts of land and more than 100 servants. The steward had many responsibilities, including managing the lord's estates. As the most important member of the staff, he was very well paid. Among other duties, the herald delivered messages for the lord. Roads were bumpy and very crowded, and traveling by horseback was difficult and often dangerous. Except for the very wealthy, overnight accommodations were likely to be uncomfortable and possibly filthy and rat-infested. The lady of the castle often supervised large banquets, which were a good opportunity to impress guests with the family's wealth and excellent taste. Such a feast might last for hours with many different courses and sweets served in between. A subtlety was a particularly elaborate edible creation shaped like a person, animal, building, anything at all, designed to surprise and entertain guests. The cook used nearly every part of an animal. Very little was wasted. While the dishes might look stunning, decorated with flowers, gold, feathers, and antlers, among other things, they were often undercooked or cold by the time they arrived at the table. Although the cleaning servant and crew worked hard to prepare the castle for a feast, standards of cleanliness were quite different from today's. Dogs were welcome in the great hall, and their waste might be left on the floor alongside bones, food droppings, grease, and spilt wine and ale. All of this would be covered with leaves or straw, with fragrant herbs added to hide the smell. The gong farmer had perhaps the worst job in the castle, cleaning out the waste from, what is this word? Let's see. The garderobe or privy, the toilet, basically. The medieval equivalent of the bathroom. There were no flushing toilets in the Middle Ages. Rather, the waste fell down a long chute into the moat or a pit. The knight wore many layers of protective clothing to prepare for a joust, a form of entertainment in which knights on horseback charged at each other and tried to topple their opponents with a lance. The doublet, an undershirt, an acqueton, a padded undercoat, were worn beneath, a hauberk or a hauberk, a coat of chainmail comprised of metal rings linked together. A chainmail coif or hood and a metal helm or helmet was worn on the head. The armor was heavy, sometimes weighing more than 60 pounds, hot and uncomfortable. Despite all this protection, injuries were common. The suitor, hoping to make a good impression on his host and win the hand of his daughter, followed very strict rules of dining etiquette. Standards have changed considerably since then, and someone following these rules today would be considered very ill-mannered indeed. The daughter would have had little say in choosing her husband, as marriages typically were arranged by parents, usually for financial benefit. Girls could be married as young as 12 years old, and most were married by their late teens. The jester was one of many performers who might entertain at a banquet, along with musicians, jugglers, and acrobats. Some were traveling entertainers. Others were part of a wealthy lord's staff. The doctor had very different beliefs about health in the Middle Ages. He might have considered astrology, numerology, and religion when diagnosing an illness. Herbal remedies were common, as was bloodletting to drain the quote-unquote bad blood. The end. Thank you for listening to this really interesting little book I found in the library. And I hope everyone has a great day or night. See you next time.